Chosen one, this is not coincidence. This is not random. This is not by accident that you are here right now, hearing these words at this exact moment in your life. I summoned you to this place. I arranged the circumstances of your day, the quiet prompting in your spirit, the way this video or this message found its way to you when you needed it most. You were not scrolling aimlessly. You were being led. This is a divine setup, a holy interruption in your routine because the sacrifice you made in silence has reached my ears and my heart, and I have a response that is about to shift your perspective on everything you have been through. The war is real. The battles you fought when no one else knew you were fighting have real weight in the heavenlies. And because you fought them the way I showed you, with silence and with surrender, you caused the heavens to pause. Yes, your quiet endurance, your hidden prayers, your unseen tears, your choice to stay faithful when it would have been easier to walk away or to fight in the flesh, all of that created a spiritual pause button that was pressed in the realms you cannot see with your eyes. The enemy's plans were slowed. The acceleration of certain attacks was interrupted. The timing of certain events was altered because your sacrifice demanded a response from heaven. And because of that pause, restoration is nearer than your eyes can perceive. It is closer than the next sunrise. It is nearer than the next difficult conversation you are dreading. It is already in motion, already being assembled in the spirit, already heading your way even as you listen to this. You have been carrying weights that were never meant to be carried alone. You have been walking through valleys that seemed endless, facing giants that appeared too big, and dealing with people who did not understand the depth of your commitment to me. But none of it was random. None of it was punishment. All of it was preparation wrapped in protection. The loneliness you felt was not because I left you. It was because I was drawing you closer to myself in ways that required the noise of other voices to be silenced. The rejection you experienced from those you thought would stand with you was not because you were unworthy. It was because I was pruning relationships that would have hindered the destiny I have for you. The delay in the promises you have been holding onto was not a denial. It was a divine strategy to build in you the character that can carry the restoration without it destroying you. What looked like loss was investment. What felt like abandonment was actually the safest place you could be while I worked on your behalf in the pause you created. As it is written in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. There is a time to be silent and a time to speak. There is a time to tear down and a time to build. Chosen one, you have been in the time to be silent. You have been in the season of tearing down the old ways, the old mindsets, the old dependencies on the approval of man. But that time is shifting. The season of building is upon you. The time to speak the word I have placed in your mouth is approaching. The restoration I have prepared is not stuck in some distant future. It is nearer than your eyes can perceive because the pause your sacrifice created has aligned everything for the perfect release. You have been waiting for the vision to come to pass, and though it has lingered, it has not been forgotten. It will certainly come. I remember a time, chosen one, when I was walking through my own season of silent sacrifice. It was in a small house with thin walls, where every sound carried. The living room had an old couch that sagged in the middle, and I would sit there late at night after everyone else had gone to bed, the only light coming from a small lamp on the side table. The Bible was open on my lap, but some nights I could not even read the words because the weight in my chest was too heavy. I had been sacrificing time with friends because the path I was on required focus. I had been sacrificing financial comfort because I chose to give where I felt led, even when it left me short. I had been sacrificing the right to explain myself when misunderstandings arose at work and in my family. One particular night stands out. It was after a long day of dealing with conflict that I chose not to escalate. I came home, closed the door to my room, and I fell to my knees beside the bed. The floor was cold against my skin. I could hear the faint sound of traffic outside, but inside it was quiet except for my breathing and the occasional sniffle as tears started to fall. I asked God why. I said it out loud in a whisper so no one would hear, why does it have to be this way? Why do I have to keep sacrificing when it feels like nothing is changing? Why is the timing so slow? I questioned his sovereignty in that moment. I questioned whether the sacrifice was making any difference at all. The doubt was real, and I did not hide it from him. But even in the questioning, I stayed. I did not get up and walk away from the faith. I did not stop praying. I did not stop believing that somehow, some way, it would be worth it. And looking back now, I can see how that night, and many nights like it, were pausing things in my life that could have taken me off course. The restoration that came years later was nearer than I could have imagined while I was on that cold floor. It came through unexpected people, unexpected opportunities, and unexpected peace that I could not have manufactured on my own. That is why I can speak to you with such certainty, chosen one. Your sacrifice in silence has paused the heavens in the same way and even more powerfully. Because you chose not to defend yourself when you had every right to. Because you chose to pray instead of post. Because you chose to forgive when the wound was fresh and the anger was justified. Because you chose to stay in the assignment when the assignment was hard and the recognition was absent. All of that has created a pause in the heavenly activity that has protected you from worse, preserved you for better, and positioned you for the restoration that is about to unfold. The heavens did not ignore your offering. The heavens responded by pausing the plans that were not aligned with my perfect will for your life. And now that pause is about to end in the most beautiful way. Restoration is nearer than your eyes can perceive. It is already being released in the spirit realm, and it will soon manifest in your daily reality in ways that will make the sacrifice feel small compared to the glory that is coming. As it is written in the book of Isaiah chapter 61 verse 3, I will bestow on you a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. The ashes of your silent sacrifices are being turned into beauty right now. The mourning you have carried in secret is being replaced with joy that will surprise you with its strength. The despair that tried to settle on you during the long waits is being lifted, and in its place I am putting praise that will change the atmosphere around you. This is not something you have to strive for. This is something I am doing because of what you did in the secret place. The pause you caused has made room for this exchange. The restoration is not just coming, it is already exchanging the old for the new in the unseen places, and soon your eyes will see what your spirit has already begun to sense. You didn't know it at the time, but every time you chose silence over strife, you were depositing into an account in heaven that is now ready to be withdrawn. Every time you chose prayer over panic, you were shifting the atmosphere in your favor. Every time you chose obedience over convenience, you were pausing the enemy's ability to move freely in your life. That is the power of the sacrifice you made in silence. It did not just affect your emotions or your circumstances in the moment. It affected the spiritual climate over your life, over your family, over your future. And because it paused the heavens, the things that were supposed to happen quickly were held back for the right time. The things that were supposed to come against you were diverted. And the things that were supposed to bless you were prepared in the waiting. Now the waiting is almost over. The pause is almost lifted. And when it is, you will see why it all had to happen this way. You will see that the sacrifice was not the end of your story. It was the turning point that made the restoration possible. Chosen one, let this word sink deep into your spirit as you continue listening. There is more I want to reveal to you about how this restoration will look in your daily life, about the practical ways I am about to move, and about the testimonies that are about to break forth from your own mouth. But for this moment, receive the truth that your sacrifice mattered. It was seen. It was honored. It paused the heavens. And restoration is nearer than your eyes can perceive. You are not where you were. You are not who you were. And you are not alone in this anymore. I am with you, and I am moving on your behalf because of the price you paid in the secret. And there is more I need to tell you, chosen one, about what that sacrifice accomplished while you were enduring in the quiet. You see, the heavens pausing was not just a holding pattern. It was an active intervention on your behalf. While you were choosing not to speak when words would have brought temporary relief but long-term damage to your spirit and to the people around you, I was speaking on your behalf in places you could not access with your natural voice. While you were wiping tears in private and showing strength in public, I was dispatching help from unexpected directions, redirecting paths that were headed toward greater harm, and preparing hearts that will soon cross yours in ways that will feel like sudden favor. The pause was productive. It was protective. It was strategic. And it was all because you honored me with your silence when it cost you the most to stay quiet. You did not know the full weight of what you were carrying, but heaven knew. Heaven recorded it. Heaven responded to it by pressing pause on assignments that were meant to overwhelm you before your appointed time. What looked like rejection from the people closest to you was actually my hand separating you for a season so that the restoration could come without contamination. You felt overlooked at family gatherings, in group chats, in rooms where your name should have been mentioned but was not. You sat there sometimes with a smile on your face while your heart ached, choosing not to bring up the old wounds or demand the recognition you deserved. That choice, that silent sacrifice, paused the heavens from allowing those same patterns of dismissal to continue into your next season. I was shielding the coming restoration from the very voices that had ignored you. What felt like isolation was insulation. What felt like being left out was actually being set apart for something greater than the circle you were trying to stay in. You did not lose those relationships by accident. I allowed the distance because the weight of glory that is about to rest on your life could not have been carried in the old alignments. The pause your sacrifice created made room for new alignments that will honor the price you paid. I remember another time, chosen one, when the sacrifice showed up in a family gathering that should have been joyful but felt heavy instead. It was during the holidays, the house was full of people and food and noise, the table covered with dishes that had taken hours to prepare. Laughter was bouncing off the walls, children running through the rooms, but I felt the familiar ache in my chest as conversations happened around me without really including me. Old patterns of being misunderstood were playing out again, the same subtle dismissals, the same way my words were cut short or my presence was tolerated but not truly welcomed. I could have spoken up. I could have addressed the elephant in the room right there at the dinner table. I could have defended the choices I had made in the previous months that no one seemed to understand. But I chose silence again. I passed the food, I smiled at the right moments, I helped clean up afterward without complaining, and later that night when everyone had gone to their rooms or left for home, I sat alone in the kitchen with the lights dimmed, the leftover plates stacked, the smell of the meal still lingering in the air. I asked God again why it had to feel this way even among my own people. I questioned the timing of the restoration I had been believing for. I wondered out loud in that quiet kitchen if the sacrifice of keeping peace was worth the ongoing ache. The doubt was honest that night. I did not pretend to have it all figured out. But I stayed in the posture of surrender. I did not let the moment turn into conflict that would have required years to repair. And looking back, I see how that choice at that table, in that house, on that night, was part of the larger pause that protected the relationships that truly mattered and made space for healing that came later from directions I never expected. The restoration that eventually touched that family line was nearer than I could perceive while I was washing dishes in the quiet after everyone else had gone. That same kind of protection has been operating over your life, anointed one. The family conflicts that could have escalated into permanent breaks were paused because you chose not to fight fire with fire. The workplace situations where you were passed over for promotions or credit that belonged to you were paused from becoming the final word over your career. The health challenges or financial pressures that tried to compound during your silent seasons were held back from becoming the destruction the enemy intended. Your sacrifice created a spiritual covering that the heavens honored by pausing the full force of what was coming against you. This is not something you earned by perfection. This is something that happened because your heart stayed turned toward me even when your circumstances gave you every reason to turn away. You did not always feel strong. You did not always feel sure. But you kept showing up in the secret place. You kept laying the sacrifice down without demanding immediate evidence that it was working. And because you did, the heavens paused. The enemy was restricted. And restoration is nearer than your eyes can perceive. As it is written in Matthew chapter 6 verse 6, when you pray, go into your room, close the door and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. The reward is not a maybe. It is not a possibility. It is a certainty that has been activated by the very sacrifice you made when the door was closed and no one else was watching. The pause in the heavens was the first part of that reward being set in motion. The full manifestation is still unfolding, but it is already closer than you have been allowing yourself to hope. You have been living as if the best is still years away, but I am telling you the truth right now that the distance between where you are and where I am taking you has been shortened because of what you did in the secret. The heavens that paused are about to release. The vision that has lingered is about to speak. And when it does, it will not be a small thing. It will be a confirming sign that every silent yes was worth it. You feel the stirring even now, do you not? That sense that something is shifting even though your eyes have not yet seen the full evidence. That is the spirit within you responding to the word I am releasing. That is the confirmation that this message is not for the crowd. It is for the one who has been carrying the hidden cost. The one who has sacrificed reputation, comfort, relationships, and opportunities without anyone clapping or even noticing. I see every detail. I saw the nights you stayed up praying instead of sleeping. I saw the times you gave your last bit of emotional energy to someone else when you had nothing left for yourself. I saw the moments you bit your tongue to keep from saying something that would have felt good in the moment but would have grieved my spirit. Those moments were not small. They were the very things that caused the pause. They were the offerings that moved my heart and caused heaven to hold back what the enemy wanted to release against you. As it is written in Psalm 34 verse 18, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. You have been brokenhearted in ways no one around you fully understood. You have been crushed in spirit during seasons when your outward life looked fine but your inner world was in turmoil. But I was close. I was closer than the pain. I was closer than the silence. I was closer than the delay. And because you stayed in that closeness even when it hurt, the heavens paused the plans that would have taken you further from my presence. The restoration that is coming will not just fix the surface things. It will heal the deep places where the crushing happened. It will restore the joy that was drained out of you during the long waits. It will bring back the sense of purpose that felt lost when no one seemed to see the value of your sacrifice. This is not a surface-level fix. This is a deep restoration that only I can bring, and it has been made possible because you honored me in the deep places where no one else could see. The claims I am making over you right now are not gentle suggestions. They are prophetic declarations backed by the sacrifice you laid down. Situations that have been stuck for years are about to break open suddenly. People who have been distant are about to reach out with words of reconciliation or opportunities that will confirm my hand. Resources that have been withheld are about to flow from directions you are not even watching. Your body, which has carried the stress of the silent battles, is about to experience relief that feels supernatural because the spiritual pressure that was pressing against you has been paused and is now being lifted. These are not far-off possibilities. These are the direct results of the pause your sacrifice created. The enemy wanted to accelerate destruction in these areas. I allowed the pause instead. And now the pause is serving my purpose to bring you into the restoration you could not have imagined while you were in the middle of the sacrifice. You did not make that sacrifice to be seen by man. You made it because something in your spirit knew it was the only way to stay aligned with me. And that alignment has produced fruit in the heavenlies that is about to show up in your natural life. The very atmosphere over your home, over your workplace, over your relationships is shifting because the pause is beginning to lift. You may not see the full shift today, but you will feel the first signs of it in the coming hours and days. A peace that does not make sense. A prompting to take a step you have been afraid to take. A conversation that opens a door you thought was permanently closed. These are the early movements after the pause. They are the confirmation that what I am speaking through this word is already in motion. Chosen one, the sacrifice you made in silence did not just pause the heavens for your protection. It paused them for your promotion. It paused them so that the restoration could come in the right order, at the right time, through the right channels that will not be stolen or tainted by the old cycles. You have been living in the in-between long enough. The in-between was necessary. It was the place where your character was forged and your faith was tested. But the in-between is not your permanent address. The pause has done its work. The heavens are stirring again. And what is about to be released will be greater than anything the sacrifice cost you. You will look back on this season and see that every silent yes was actually a yes to a future you could not have orchestrated on your own. The restoration is nearer than your eyes can perceive because I have been preparing it in the very pause you created. And I am not finished revealing to you how deep this goes or how soon it will touch the practical places of your life. There is still more I need to show you about the turn that is coming and how you are to walk in it when it arrives. But for now, let the truth settle that your sacrifice was not in vain. It was seen. It was honored. It paused the heavens. And the restoration it unlocked is already closer than you think. But there is even more that the pause accomplished, chosen one, and I need you to hear this part clearly because it is already beginning to touch the places you thought were permanently stuck. The sacrifice you made in silence did not only hold back the enemy. It positioned you for a release that will feel sudden after the long wait. Situations that have dragged on for months or years are about to resolve in ways that will make you shake your head and wonder how it happened so quickly. People who have been resistant are about to soften. Doors that have been closed are about to open without you having to push them. The financial pressure that has been a constant weight is about to lift as provision arrives from places you are not even expecting. This is not wishful thinking. This is the direct result of the pause your sacrifice created in the heavenlies. The enemy wanted to keep you in cycles of delay and disappointment. I used your obedience to interrupt those cycles. And now the interruption is turning into acceleration in the right direction. You will see it in your body first in many cases. The stress that has lived in your shoulders, in your chest, in the way you have not been able to fully rest even when you tried, that stress was tied to the spiritual pressure that has now been paused. As the pause lifts, you will notice a lightness that was not there before. Sleep will come easier. Your thoughts will settle faster when anxiety tries to rise. Physical symptoms that doctors could not fully explain will begin to ease because the root in the spirit has been addressed. I am not saying you will never face another challenge. I am saying the weight of this particular season is being lifted because you honored me in the secret. The restoration is not just spiritual. It is touching the practical, the physical, the visible places of your life. And it is nearer than your eyes can perceive because the work was already done while you were sacrificing without seeing immediate results. I remember yet another moment, chosen one, when the sacrifice showed up in a way that felt small at the time but carried weight I did not understand until later. It was during a phone call with someone who had hurt me deeply in the past. The conversation started innocently enough, but old patterns began to surface, the same accusations, the same way of twisting my words. I felt the familiar fire rising in my chest, the urge to defend myself, to set the record straight, to finally say the things I had held back for years. The phone was in my hand, the room was quiet except for the voice on the other end, and I could feel my heart pounding. I had every right to speak up. I had rehearsed the words in my mind many times. But in that moment I chose silence again. I listened without interrupting. I responded with short, calm answers instead of the full defense I wanted to give. When the call ended, I sat there with the phone still in my hand, staring at the wall, tears coming because it felt like I had swallowed the pain all over again. I asked God later that night why I had to keep choosing the high road when it kept costing me peace in the moment. I questioned whether the silence was actually weakness disguised as spirituality. The doubt was real and I brought it honestly before me. But I did not go back and send the angry text or make the follow-up call to say what I really thought. I stayed in the sacrifice. And months later, that same relationship began to shift in ways I never expected. The person reached out with an apology that came out of nowhere. The door that I thought I had to close permanently began to crack open with genuine change. The restoration that touched that situation was nearer than I could have seen while I was sitting with the phone in my hand fighting back the words. That moment of chosen silence was part of the larger pause that protected the possibility of healing instead of locking the door forever. Your story carries similar moments, Anointed One. The times you chose not to send the message, not to make the call, not to post the response that would have gone viral in your circle but would have grieved the Spirit. Those choices paused the heavens from allowing the conflict to define your future. They created space for me to work on hearts that you could not reach. They kept your own heart from hardening in ways that would have blocked the restoration I have planned. You did not see the full picture then. You were simply trying to stay faithful in the moment. But that faithfulness has been working on your behalf in realms you cannot access. The pause is lifting now. The situations that were held in that pause are about to move forward in the direction I have chosen, not the direction the enemy wanted. As it is written in the book of Isaiah chapter 43 verse 19, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." The wilderness you have been walking through was real. The wasteland seasons where nothing seemed to grow no matter how much you watered it with prayer and obedience, those were real. But I am doing a new thing. It is already springing up even if your eyes have not adjusted to see it yet. The pause your sacrifice created cleared the path for this new thing to emerge without the old obstacles blocking it. The wilderness is about to bloom. The wasteland is about to flow. And the new thing will not look like the old cycles you have been fighting. It will be marked by my hand in ways that cannot be explained by natural circumstances. You will know it is me because it will carry the signature of the pause that was honored in heaven. The claims are getting stronger now because the time for gentle hints is passing. The very chains that have held certain areas of your life are beginning to weaken. Relationships that felt permanently strained are about to experience unexpected softening. Financial doors that have been closed are about to open through channels you did not apply for and did not see coming. Creative ideas and opportunities that have been buried under the weight of survival are about to rise to the surface with fresh anointing. Your children, your family line, the generations connected to you are about to feel the ripple effect of the sacrifice you made when no one was watching. The enemy wanted to cut off the flow to the next generation through your discouragement. Your choice to stay faithful in silence blocked that assignment. The pause protected the legacy. And now the legacy is about to advance in ways that will make you weep with gratitude when you see it unfolding. You will see sudden resolutions to long-standing issues. You will see people who once opposed you begin to speak in your favor without you having to convince them. You will see provision arrive in amounts and timing that line up too perfectly to be coincidence. You will see your own heart healing from the wounds of the silent seasons in ways that allow you to enjoy the restoration instead of carrying the old pain into the new season. These are not distant promises. These are the movements that have already begun because the heavens that paused are now releasing what has been held for your sake. The sacrifice qualified you for this level of intervention. The silence proved your heart was ready to carry what is coming without it destroying you or causing you to forget who gave it to you. As it is written in 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verses 17 and 18, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." The troubles you have carried in silence were not light in your eyes. They felt heavy. They felt long. They felt like they might break you at times. But I am telling you they were achieving something eternal. They were building glory that will far outweigh every moment of the sacrifice. The pause was the unseen work that is now becoming visible. What you fix your eyes on right now is about to change because the unseen is about to break into your seen reality with power. The eternal glory prepared for you is not waiting for another lifetime. It is beginning to touch this lifetime in tangible ways because your sacrifice in the secret aligned you with the timing I set before the foundation of the world. The long season of only hearing promises without seeing movement is giving way. The hiddenness that felt like punishment is revealing itself as protection and preparation. What has been silent in your life is about to speak. The situations that refuse to change no matter how much you prayed are about to shift because the spiritual atmosphere over them has been altered by your obedience. The people who have been blind to your value are about to see you differently because I am changing the way they perceive you. This is the turn. This is the moment where the pause ends and the release begins. It will not happen all at once in every area, but it will begin in the areas I have chosen first, and it will spread from there until the restoration touches every part of your story that the sacrifice covered. You were not imagining the weight. You were not exaggerating the cost. But you also were not seeing the full return that was being stored up while you were paying the price in silence. Chosen one, the heavens paused because of you. The enemy was restricted because of you. The timing was protected because of you. And now the revealing is stirring. You will not have to force it. You will not have to strive for it. You will simply have to recognize it when it shows up and give me the glory that belongs to me alone. The restoration is nearer than your eyes can perceive, and the first signs of it are already moving toward you even as these words are reaching your spirit. There is still more I must show you about how to walk in this turn when it fully arrives, how to steward the restoration without falling back into old patterns, and how to let it touch your mornings, your work, your conversations, and your difficulties in practical ways. But the foundation is laid. The pause has done its work. The turn is upon you. And what comes next will confirm every step you took in faith when no one was clapping and no one could see the cost you were carrying. The turn is here, chosen one. The long season of silence that felt like it would never lift has reached its appointed end. The hiddenness that protected you is now giving way to the revealing that will confirm every sacrifice you made when no one was watching. The heavens that paused because of your obedience in the secret place are no longer holding back. They are releasing. The enemy who was restricted is no longer able to operate at the same level in your life. What has been delayed is now being accelerated in the right direction. What has been misunderstood is about to be clarified by my hand moving visibly. What has been heavy is about to become light as the burden lifts and the glory rests. This is not a gradual fading of the old season. This is a divine shift. The silence has ended. The revealing has begun. And you are standing at the edge of it even as these words are reaching you. You will feel it in the atmosphere first. There will be a noticeable change in the way situations respond to you. Conversations that used to drain you will carry a different weight. Opportunities that used to slip away will present themselves with unusual clarity. The resistance that has been constant will encounter a new authority in your spirit that was forged during the sacrifice. This is the turn. It is not something you have to manufacture. It is something I am releasing because your sacrifice qualified the timing. The pause did its work. Now the movement begins. And it will touch every area that was covered by your silent yes to me. As it is written in the book of Joel chapter 2 verse 25, I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten, the great locust and the young locust, the other locusts and the locust swarm, my great army that I sent among you. The years that felt wasted, the seasons that felt devoured by delay and disappointment and silent battles, those years are not lost. I am repaying them. The restoration is not just catching up to where you should have been. It is advancing you beyond what the locusts tried to destroy. The pause your sacrifice created stopped the locusts from finishing their work. Now the repayment is beginning. You will see it in restored time, restored relationships, restored purpose, restored joy. The years that were eaten are being given back with interest because heaven honored the price you paid in the quiet. In the mornings when you wake up, chosen one, start your day by acknowledging the turn that has already begun. Before you reach for your phone or your to-do list, take a moment in the quiet of your room, the same kind of quiet where you once made your sacrifices, and speak to me. Thank me for the pause that protected you. Thank me for the revealing that is now unfolding. Ask me to show you one thing I am doing in your life that day that you might otherwise miss. This is not a religious routine. This is alignment with the new season. The mornings will begin to carry a different anointing because the spiritual atmosphere over your day has shifted. You will notice ideas coming faster. You will notice peace settling quicker when the day tries to bring its usual pressures. The sacrifice you made in the secret place is now producing fruit in the open, starting with how you begin each day. When you go to your work or handle your responsibilities, carry the awareness that the turn is active. You do not have to strive to prove yourself the way you once did. The favor that was paused is now being released. Speak with the authority that was built during the silent seasons. Make decisions from the place of knowing that I am moving on your behalf. When conversations arise that used to intimidate you or drain you, pause before you respond. Let the same spirit that helped you stay silent in sacrifice now help you speak with wisdom and clarity. The people around you will begin to sense a difference. Some will not understand it and may even resist it at first, but that resistance will not be able to stop what I have set in motion. Your work will begin to carry fruit that matches the price you paid in private. The recognition that was withheld is about to find you in ways that cannot be attributed to your effort alone. This is the turn touching your daily labor. In your family and close relationships, the turn will show up as unexpected openings for healing and connection. The patterns that have been stuck for years are no longer protected by the old pause. Where you once had to sacrifice by staying silent to keep peace, you will now have opportunities to speak truth in love and see it received differently. Where distance existed, I am creating bridges. Where old wounds were reopened every time certain topics came up, those wounds are being healed at the root so that new conversations can happen without the same pain. You do not have to force these changes. You simply have to walk in the new authority the sacrifice produced. When difficult family moments arise, remember that the heavens pause to protect these very relationships from permanent damage. Now the revealing is bringing the restoration that was stored up during the wait. Your presence in those rooms will begin to carry a different weight. Your words will land with more impact. Your love will be received with less resistance because the spiritual climate has shifted. When difficulty comes, and it will still come because you are in a real world with real opposition, meet it from the place of the turn rather than the place of the old sacrifice. The sacrifice season taught you how to endure. The turn season is teaching you how to overcome. When a challenge rises, pause long enough to remember that the pause in the heavens has already restricted the enemy's full access. Speak to the situation from the authority I have given you. Do not return to the old posture of silent endurance alone. Add to it the declaration of what I am doing now. The difficulty may look the same on the surface at first, but its power over you has been broken. The turn means that what used to take you under for weeks now loses its grip faster. What used to trigger old fears now triggers fresh faith because you have seen the faithfulness of the pause and you are now seeing the faithfulness of the release. As it is written in Psalm 91 verse 1, "Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty." You dwelt in that shelter during the sacrifice. You stayed hidden in me when the storms were raging around you. Now you are moving from the shelter into the open place of rest that the sacrifice secured. The shadow of the Almighty is still over you, but the revealing is bringing you into a new dimension of that rest. The turn is not removing my covering. It is expanding it so that others can see what I have been doing for you in the secret. You will rest in ways you could not rest during the long wait. Your mind will settle. Your body will recover. Your spirit will expand into the new season without the fear that the old season tried to plant in you. I remember one final moment from my own journey that mirrors what you are stepping into now, chosen one. It was after a long season of silent sacrifice, on a morning much like the ones you will have in this new turn. The sun was just coming through the window of that small room, the same room where I had knelt so many nights in tears and doubt. I had received news the day before that something I had been believing for was finally moving forward after years of nothing. I sat on the edge of the bed, the sheets still rumpled, the Bible open to the same pages I had read through blurry eyes during the hard nights, and I felt the shift in my spirit before I saw it fully in my circumstances. The doubt that had been so loud during the sacrifice was quiet now. Not because everything was perfect, but because the revealing had begun. I knew in that moment that the pause had done its work and the release was underway. I did not have to strive anymore. I simply had to walk in what had already been prepared. That morning changed how I moved through the rest of my day and the rest of my life. The turn had arrived, and I was learning to live from it instead of fighting for it. You are in that same place now. The turn has arrived for you. The sacrifice prepared you. The pause protected you. The revealing is confirming you. In every practical area of your life, from the first moment you open your eyes in the morning to the last conversation before you sleep at night, the new season is touching the old patterns and transforming them. You do not have to figure it all out at once. You simply have to stay aligned with the one who orchestrated the pause and is now orchestrating the release. When you feel the old fear trying to rise, remember the sacrifice that paused the heavens. When you see the first signs of movement, give thanks for the revealing that has begun. The restoration is nearer than your eyes can perceive, and it is already proving itself in the daily steps you are taking. Speak this aloud with me now, chosen one. Say it from your mouth so your spirit can hear it and your atmosphere can receive it. I am chosen. I am anointed. My sacrifice in silence paused the heavens. The turn has come. Restoration is nearer than my eyes can perceive, and it is already moving in my life. The silence has ended. The revealing has begun. I receive it now in the name of Jesus. Did you feel that shift when you spoke it? That was not just words. That was agreement with the turn that heaven has already set in motion over your life. The sacrifice qualified you. The pause protected you. The revealing is confirming you. And every morning, every work day, every family interaction, every difficulty you face from this point forward will carry the evidence of what you paid in the secret and what I am now releasing in the open. There is still one more thing I must seal in your spirit before you go, a final word of instruction and blessing that will help you walk this turn without looking back. But the foundation is laid. The turn is real. And you were born for this moment, chosen one. That final word of instruction and blessing is this, chosen one. The turn you are now walking in requires you to live differently in the small, daily places so the restoration can grow without being choked by old habits or old fears. The sacrifice you made in silence paused the heavens and qualified you for this moment. The revealing has begun, and these practical steps are how you cooperate with what I am already releasing. Do not treat them as religious duties. Treat them as alignments that keep the heavens open over your life while the restoration unfolds in real time. In the mornings when you first open your eyes, stay in that quiet space for at least 60 seconds before the day rushes in. Speak to me out loud if you can. Say, Father, thank you for the sacrifice that paused the heavens on my behalf. Thank you for the turn that has now begun. Show me today what you are restoring and how I am to walk in it. Then take 3 slow breaths and let the peace of the revealing settle over your mind. This is not about adding another task. This is about starting the day from the place of the turn instead of the place of the old waiting. The first thoughts that come after this moment will carry more clarity. The first decisions you make will carry more authority. The enemy will try to interrupt this simple alignment with urgency or distraction, but push through it. The mornings you honor this way will set the tone for days that feel different. You will notice the heaviness that used to greet you upon waking is lighter. You will notice ideas and solutions coming to mind while you are still lying there. This is the turn touching the first moments of your day because your sacrifice qualified you for this kind of morning alignment. Over time these mornings will become the place where you hear my voice most clearly before the noise of the world tries to drown it out. When you move through your work or your daily responsibilities, carry the awareness that the pause has lifted and the revealing is active in practical ways. You do not have to perform at the same level of striving that the old season required. The favor that was stored up during your silent sacrifices is now being released. In meetings or conversations, speak with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing I am moving on your behalf. When deadlines press or difficult people push, pause for 3 seconds before you respond and remember that the heavens paused for you. That memory will give you the grace to respond instead of react. When opportunities or ideas cross your path, do not dismiss them because they seem too small or too sudden. The turn often begins with small movements that build into larger breakthroughs. Write them down. Act on the ones I highlight in your spirit. The work that once felt like a burden is about to feel like a platform for the restoration I am bringing. Colleagues who once overlooked you will begin to notice the difference in how you carry yourself. Projects that were stuck will begin to move as you bring the authority of the turn into them. You will not have to force recognition. The revealing will bring it at the right time through the right people. This is not about working harder. This is about working from the place of the sacrifice's reward instead of the place of the sacrifice's pain. In your family and close relationships, the turn will require a new posture. Where you once sacrificed by staying silent to keep peace, you may now be called to speak truth with gentleness and see it received in ways it never was before. When conversations with your spouse, children, or parents arise, listen first with the same spirit that helped you endure in silence, but add to it the boldness that the revealing has produced. Old patterns of misunderstanding will try to reappear, but they will not have the same power. When you feel the old ache rising in a family moment, remember that the pause protected these relationships from permanent damage. Now the revealing is bringing the healing that was stored up. You do not have to fix everything in one conversation. You simply have to show up from the place of the turn instead of the place of the old waiting. Your presence will begin to carry a different atmosphere. Your words will land with more weight. Your love will be felt more deeply because the spiritual climate over your family line has shifted. For those family members who are still distant or resistant, continue to cover them in the same secret prayer that marked your sacrifice season, but now add thanksgiving that the revealing is touching them too, even if you cannot see it yet. The restoration I am bringing to you is also reaching the ones connected to you because your sacrifice stood in the gap for the bloodline. When difficulty comes, and it will come because the turn does not remove you from real life, meet it with the authority the sacrifice produced. Financial pressure that tries to rise will encounter a new level of provision and wisdom because the pause held back the worst of the attack. Health challenges that surface will find you with more resilience and quicker access to the healing I have stored up for you. Relational conflicts that appear will resolve faster because the old cycles have been broken. When the difficulty hits, do not go back to the posture of silent endurance alone. Add to it the declaration of the turn. Speak to the situation. Remind yourself out loud if necessary that the heavens paused for you and the revealing has begun. The difficulty may look familiar at first, but its ability to take you under has been restricted. You will notice that what used to derail you for days now loses its grip in hours. You will notice that solutions appear where there used to be only confusion. This is the turn operating in the middle of real challenges. The sacrifice taught you how to survive. The revealing is teaching you how to overcome while you are still in the middle of the battle. Do not despise the difficulty when it comes. It is the very place where the power of the turn will be proven to you and through you. As it is written in Romans chapter 8 verse 28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Every moment of the sacrifice, every tear in the secret, every choice to stay silent when speaking would have been easier, every one of those things is now being worked together for your good in this turn. The revealing is the proof that nothing was wasted. The daily instructions I have given you are the practical ways to cooperate with that working together. When you wake with alignment, when you work with authority, when you relate with the new posture, when you meet difficulty with the turn in mind, you are walking in the good that I am producing from the sacrifice. This is not about earning the restoration. This is about stewarding it so that it grows and touches every area without being choked by old habits. Speak this declaration aloud with me now, chosen one. Let every word come from your mouth so your spirit and your atmosphere receive it fully. I am chosen. I am anointed. The sacrifice I made in silence paused the heavens. The turn has come. The silence has ended. The revealing has begun. Restoration is nearer than my eyes can perceive, and it is already moving in my mornings, my work, my family, my difficulties, and my nights. I receive this turn now. Go in peace, chosen one. Go in power. The same spirit that helped you sacrifice in silence is now helping you walk in the revealing with boldness and joy. If this word has stirred something deep in your spirit and confirmed what you have been sensing, type Amen in the comments as an act of faith and agreement. Share this message with another chosen one who has been carrying a silent sacrifice of their own, because the word I release is meant to spread to those who need it most. And if you want to stay connected to the words I continue to release in this season, subscribe so that you do not miss what comes next. These are not just videos. These are divine appointments I am arranging for my chosen ones. You were born for this moment. The sacrifice prepared you. The turn has found you. And the restoration is already nearer than your eyes can perceive. God bless you.